For the past number of weeks, we've been talking about Russian President Vladimir Putin's actions in Crimea and, of course, in Ukraine and that ongoing crisis. Well, we can maybe put those aside for a moment because it would look like the Russian president has his eye on another prize. Let's bring in Faith Goldie to unpack this one for us. So, Crimea, maybe eastern part of Ukraine, I don't want to maybe go there. Arctic, not so much. So where's he looking?
Finland, Belarus, and some of the other Baltic states. This is according to his ex-aide, actually his economic chief of staff, essentially, who says, look, what Putin is interested in is what he calls historic justice. So in other words, anything that we perhaps once upon a time, even if it was 100 years ago, say in the case of Finland, anything that we once owned, I think we should re-own. And so, you know, kind of go there and make sure that we're protecting interests of Russians or whatever, you know, bogus excuse he wants to push forward. Now, we can kind of laugh it off, you know, but this isn't Kim Jong-un talking, you know, this is a G8 nation, P5 state with 15 times the defense spending than most of these nations that he's looking.
Been beefing up the military, been beefing up his public image, just wrapped up the Olympics, all of those things going on, Faith. He's got his eye on, I mean, he's like, he wants to conquer the world in a way. And so if his rationale is looking at this idea with exactly what they said in Crimea, we are going to protect Russian nationalists, their interests, their safety. This is what we do. We protect our people. What's them to stop the notion of going anywhere else?
Well, you know, Finland's doing the right thing so far as they're beefing up their own border security and the rest of it. And look, it's 2014 now. I understand the temptation to look back. We're about to celebrate or commemorate, I should say, the 100th anniversary of the outbreak of World War I.
Okay.
So a lot of people are looking there to see comparisons between that European crisis and this. But ask me, when I see the events of what's going on within the Russian legislature, this is not Sarajevo of 1914. This is Berlin of 1935 with the same things at play. Xenophobia, racism, violent nationalism that does not give a heck what the world stage says about them.
Yeah, and it would seem to me, Faith, that his actions, whatever they may be, is working for him at home. His polling numbers are through the roof, 80%, and they've gone up since the actions in Crimea. So there's really no incentive for him to stop domestically. Internationally, however, is where things get a bit tricky. But we've seen with the international response with him and Crimea and Ukraine. So what do we do now?
Well, I would say that we're not doing enough. And what we need is less talk and more action. We saw a 4-hour-long diplomatic meeting between the foreign minister and Secretary of State, John Kerry. Precious little achieved there. Today, apparently, Putin calls up Chancellor Angela Merkel, says, I'm going to draw down troops. That's not going to happen. He didn't even give her a rough estimate of how much he's looking to draw down, 150,000, by the way, along the eastern front of the Ukrainian border right now. I think what we need is a coalition of the willing from NATO nations, ones that will actually heed to the Ukrainian interim PM's ask for arming their nationals, as well as training and surveillance, intelligence capabilities from that coalition of the willing on the ground in Ukraine. Because our primary concern should be telling Putin not a single move further will be tolerated by you from the international arena.
Now, I think that all sounds very practical. It sounds like what world leaders should be doing, Faith. I just don't see it happening. I know that's maybe perhaps cynical, but I think it's going to have to take a significant move by him. We're going to be reactionary, not proactive, is sort of how I view this.
100%. And look no further than Obama. All he wants to do is make angry phone calls.
It would seem so. Thanks very much for breaking this one down for us. I appreciate it.